I'd like to call the meeting to order. Notice to the public that if you do wish to address the council, please complete the public wishing to address the council form. It's located at the table of at the entrance, and please give it to our clerk, Mr. Keith Hampton, there as soon as possible. All cell phones, pagers, and electronic devices used for communication should be silenced for the duration of the meeting. Mr. Trosclair, if you could lead us in an invocation followed by a pledge of allegiance.
Heavenly Father, we ask that you grant us your presence and grace and deliberations that will take place this evening. We also ask that you extend your heavenly grace over the people that were affected by these tornadoes and Tornado Alley up in Kentucky and these other states. And for this and other blessings, we give you thanks and praise. Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God.
Roll call.
Mr. Michel, Mr. Amade, Mrs. Domain, Mr. Darren Guidry,
Here.
Mr. Babin, Mr. Dirk Guidry, Mr. Trosclair, Mr. Navy, Mr. Harding. Mr. Chairman, you have a quorum present.
Thank you very much. Approved minutes of the regular council session held on November 17th, 2021. Move Mr. Carl Harding. Second, Ms. Jessica Domingue. All in favor say aye. Any opposed? Distribute minutes of the regular council session held on December 1st, 2021, which we've done. Approve accounts payable bill list for December 6th, 2021 and December 13th, 2021. Move Mr. Danny Babin, seconded Mr. Steve Trosclair. All in favor say aye. Any opposed? Public wishing to address the council. Ms. Karen Williams. If you don't mind stating your name and address, or most recent address. Yes. Go ahead, Ms. Williams.
Okay, I'm here today to appeal to the council's sense of fair play. I have a family home where my sons live. It's on Scott Lane. You all understand that it was an administrative decision to put this compound on Scott Lane. But I'm here to address you all, to let you know and express to you all the inconvenience and the hardships that is causing us, the taxpayers, the residents on that street in that area. Things that are happening, the streets have been dug up and they haven't to put whatever pipes or whatever they need. They haven't repaired the roads, so the roads are broken down. We were told at the beginning that this would be a compound for the residents for the high rise. That's been proven to be false. There's all different types of people there. I totally get it. I understand that these people were displaced. They need somewhere to go. I'm here tonight just asking that you all help us to rectify some of these hardships that it's causing us. The cars that are being parked, they're being hit. It's the mail carriers. They can't even get to the residents can't even get their mail because the cars are blocked there. And they don't have to get out and dismount and put the mail and go around the car to put the mail in there. They're, God forbid, should there be an emergency or something like that, an ambulance or a fire truck needs to get down there. That's like, that just can't happen with the way things are set up there, the activity that they have going on. The parking, like I said, in my residence, I was told that the compound, they were working with us, putting out cones to help us and assist us in being able to park. My son gets off late from work. When he comes in, he has to come and live. I don't live there. That's my family home. He has to come in and live, stay by me because he doesn't have anywhere to park. The gentleman next door, he's an elderly man. He's on dialysis. He's had to park at the head of the street and walk all the way to his residence. This is not fair. The taxpayers, we're basically paying for our own inconvenience, our dismay. And I'm here now to ask, as far as the parking that the high-rise had before, why can't that be opened up and assigned to these people? I mean, there's trash. They're throwing trash in the streets, in our yards and everything. The last time I was there, I had a confrontation with the officer. The other officers work with us, really well. This particular officer decides to tell me, in order to try to rectify this, we have property or areas on each side of the house where we could park. We were gonna park there. He instructs me that we don't own the street and they won't make anybody. It's just this one officer that did this. They can't. We don't own the street and they can't make them move for us to access our property. We're trying to even work along with them to park, to ruin our lawn, our grass, park on side of our houses, but they won't even authorize us to. He's saying that like we think we own the block or something like that. He's saying that in order for them to enforce them to make someone move for us to access our property, we have to pave it. It has to be paved. I've never heard of anything like that. My parents, they worked hard all their lives to leave something for us. And that's why I'm here now. A lot of residents, they have come to, I posted something on Facebook. They'll express to me how they're feeling, but nobody wants to come here. So like I said, I'm just asking that you all try to work with us to settle some of this. I have pictures showing how the trash is in the street, in our yards. We as well had damages from this hurricane. The top floor of our house has to be gutted out. It's already hard enough to find contractors to come to your house. We had 4 separate times that we were able to, someone said they were coming. When they came, the streets were blocked off. They turned around. They said they don't have the time to deal with that. Okay, while we're trying to get our stuff, get our homes repaired, it's deteriorating. You know, it's causing even more damage than before. The storm, for the trash from the storm, they tried twice to come and pick this trash up. They could not because the cars were parked there. And each time I would call, they're saying that we don't have time to call or go to the compound to tell the police to text them or call them to move their vehicles. This is not fair. Something needs to be done about this. We're the taxpayer. We're paying for our inconvenience. That's just wrong. And I'm here today to ask, is there something that you all could do? Is there something in the works that I maybe don't know about?
Well, first of all, thank you for coming. And I think you sharing the problems is, I think, one of the biggest part of the solutions, because as you may know, FEMA is in charge of that. FEMA chose the location, and it is that agency that is in charge of it. However, you know, as a result of you bringing it to light, we will make sure that FEMA knows the problem. And we will also talk to the Housing Authority, which is a separate agency as well that handles the high rise. But would you like to add something, Mr. Duff?
Yes, ma'am. And besides what he just said, I will go tomorrow. Of course, I'll with Mr. Coley, with Councilman Coley, Harding, and I will bring Mr. Clay Narcan, Mr. David Rome to fix the streets, and Chief Coleman on the parking. We will go over there tomorrow and we'll correct your problems. I assure you that. I'm sorry it's going through. We're in a hurricane mode right now, and that's no excuse. But like the councilman, chairman, Darren Gidry was saying, that is the housing authority, but the road is ours. The ditches are ours. And you're right. There's no reason they shouldn't be parking in that parking lot. Right. And not on the road. So I assure you, I'll be there tomorrow with Councilman Coley Harding and Chief Coleman, David Rome, who's over Public Works, and Clay Narcan, who's over the garbage pickup. Okay. I assure you that'll be taken care of.
Picked up, well, not the trash that they're throwing in our yard and the streets, but just as of last Thursday, they were able to access it because there is one guy there at the compound wheel, and he works diligently trying to make all of this work, you know, and he was on the lookout for it, and he was able to get them to move the car. So that has been rectified. Mm-hmm. But the parking is horrible, and they're even passing, hitting people's cars. It's a mess.
I'm glad you brought to our attention, and I assure you we will get it straight.
Well, thank you. And who can I follow up with, or just to see that this is being done? Or
you can call Mr. Harding, or you can call myself, Mr. Harding.
Go ahead, Mr. Harding.
Yes, I have no questions for her. I only have statements in reference to what I've observed.
Well,
okay.
Thank you very much for coming and bringing it to our attention. Thank you.
I think not only for the people that are out there that are not involved, that haven't been displaced, that don't have any type of inclination of what's going on. Misinformation and no information can cause confusion, and whether it be social media, hearsay, whatever. I read a book, and I was reading in the book, and the book spoke of proclaiming freedoms and taking care of the oppressed and proclaiming certain aspects of the human livelihood. And that same book, it said I was hungry and you didn't feed me, and I was thirsty and you gave me nothing to drink. I needed clothing and you didn't give me any clothing. I constantly be over at that particular high rise. I've heard things such as the same people you see on the corner, you see over there, and whether you drink alcohol on the corner that costs $1.50, or you're drinking alcohol at your house that costs $35 a bottle. It does not get around the fact that those people that need it, and it's just not, this is not directed to Ms. Williams, it's for those people that are out there that's actually against people having a place to stay. A football field compared to a warm bed for a kid to lay their head with 3 square meals is more important, is not as important as that facility. I recently contacted Mr. David Rome, and I found out it was not the responsibility of Roads and Bridges. It was the contract through Waterworks, and recently, as soon as they possibly could with the roads, they would actually come in and to repair the roads. I had Mr. Hurd Harris come by again with Roads and Bridges today. He confirmed that fact, along with the acknowledgement of Mr. David Rome. As for the trash pickup, Ms. Williams had called me one day, and the next day the trash pickup, it just happened to be a situation that was there. There are a number of factors that could be worked out. If we fix the road, we understand that some of the shells may not be and have dust on the road. I myself, I grew up in the neighborhood. Therefore, I want the best for the neighborhood. My number one priority is those people that live there. So, I'm not aware of any cars being hit. I actually brought it to the attention to the people at the facility, which is not, technically it does not becomes their responsibility for one vacant lot that has trash on it. But we're gonna look into that and get that done. Also, the parking and consolidated government and HUD, we cannot use the parking at Bayou Towers. That's the one, you can park on one side of the road. For those of you out there that don't really understand. And if that there are conditions that are out there, please help us out, because I'm working every day to make everything better. This is my neighborhood. It's not about taxes. It's about trying to provide services for the people. I understand Ms. Williams had 2 incidents with officers. The first phone call, I tried to make it over there, but the problem was rectified before I got over there. The second problem is the hearsay thing. I generally don't go on hearsay. I generally try to go over there myself to actually see what we possibly could resolve. Now, we can help Ms. Williams out, in my opinion. Ms. Williams can call anyone up here, consolidated government, that she choose not to call me. There are certain aspects of this government that we have to carry out. And yes, we have taxpayers, but then we're not saying none of those people in that high rise or that facility don't pay their taxes either. So we have to take in consideration everybody, and for the greater good that we have to look at. It's not squawking about the parking space. Because once you have a driveway, no parking in front of the driveway, That's universal, basically, in every neighborhood. But when you actually have a street with no parking on one side of the street, and most of the streets are in Terrebonne Parish, they basically are kind of small, and you really can't have two cars going down anyway, so you just have to wait to turn and go down. So we just can't commandeer one specific space and isolate that. I understand the matters of principle in front of the house. I have a house that people park in front of every day. I don't run them out. They don't park in my driveway. My mother has people often in front of her house. She don't run people from the house. She's old, 87 years old, and having all kind of noise around me. But she don't go out there and call the police and create a rage behind something that may ultimately end up being, why did you put that on our park? And then when it boils down to the reason why we put that on that park, because a little guy by the name of Michael, who has 3 square meters and 5 other siblings that live on that facility, that's one of my number one projects, my number one concern. Now, of course, I do believe everyone here, and you must understand, we won't resolve to this. But again, I will stick to it and take it to my grave, that my number one concern is the care and safety and shelter of these citizens of Terrebonne Parish, whether they stay in high-rise or whether they stay in some other apartment complex. So I appreciate Ms. Williams coming up here and the concern, and I'm sure we'll nip it in the bud. And I can honestly say, in front of all of you, feel free to call me. I've always been.
No, ma'am. It's since it's not on our agenda, we can't really debate the issue. We can only accept information.
Yeah, and Ms. Williams, just feel free to call me, and I try my best to serve her, but we have to be patient. Not Ms. Williams. Most people that call and want services from the councilman, they have to be patient because we just can't snap our fingers to have everything done like that. So we have to be patient, and I'm willing to work with anyone.
Thank you, Mr. Harding. Ms. Domingue?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just have a point of clarification. The base camps specifically are not FEMA base camps. They're GOSEP base camps. And that's very, very important. They're not funded through FEMA. They're funded through GOSEP.
Scott Lane is?
They're all GOSEP. Yes, sir. It's a point of contention if they, yeah.
So the ones we need to inform is GOSEP. Gotcha. Okay. Thank you very much. I'll entertain a motion to divert. We have a motion to divert and take up committee reports by Mr. John Amity. Second, Mr. Steve Trosclair. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Committee reports. Accept the minutes of the Terrebonne Parish Sales and Use Tax Advisory Board meeting dated December 7th, 2021, and consider ratification of the actions relative to 1. Declare items in the Sales and Use Tax Department as surplus property and dispose of same. 2. Recommendation for the adoption of a resolution accepting the Louisiana Compliance Questionnaire for the 2021 year-end audit. 3. Accept the 2021 projected year-end budget. And 4. Accept the 2022 proposed budget. Move Mr. John Amity. Seconded Mr. Danny Babbitt. All in favor say aye. Any opposed? It is approved. Item B, Public Service Committee. Mr. Dirk Gidry.
I'll make a motion that the council accept and ratify the minutes of the Public Services Committee meeting held on December 15th, 2021, and I have no public hearings. Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Dirk Gidry, seconded by Mr. Carl Harding. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item C, Community Development and Planning Committee. Mr. Danny Babin.
I make a motion that the council accept and ratify the minutes of the Community Development and Planning Committee held on December 13th, 2021, and I have one public hearing. Introducing an ordinance to amend section 21-30A to include Randolph Park in section 21-31 of chapter 21, article 2 of the parish code to change the name of Gray Recreation Park to Randolph Park, and calling for a public hearing on Wednesday, January 12th, 2022 at 6:30 p.m.
Move Mr. Danny Babin, seconded Mr. John Amity. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item D, Policy, Procedure, and Legal Committee. Mr. Gerald Michel.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I make a motion that the council accept and ratify the minutes of the Policy, Procedure, and Legal Committee held on December 15, 2021, and I have one public hearing. An ordinance to amend the Tacoma Terrebonne Civic Center's standard rental agreement to update by increasing the security fees rate effective as of January 12, 2022, from $30 per hour, $45 per hour for off-duty detail rates with a 4-hour minimum per officer, and to update the provisions of the agreement in general and call a public hearing on said matters on Wednesday, January 12th, 2022 at 6:30 p.m.
Move Mr. Gerald Michelle, second Mrs. Steve Trosclair. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Item 3, appointments to various boards, committees, and commissions. The Bayou Cane Fire Department has 4 expiring terms. On January 1, 2022, Mr. Edward Lawson expresses his interest in being reappointed. Mr. Robert Page expresses his interest in being reappointed. And Mr. Hayward Sims Jr. expresses his interest in being
Motion to open,
reappointed.
close, and reappoint the 3 and hold the 4th one over.
Motion to open, close, and reappoint the 3 and hold the 4th over by Mr. Gerald Michelle, second Mrs. Danny Babin. All in favor say aye. Any opposed? Item B, Schriever Fire Protection. 2 expiring terms on January 1st, 2022. Ms. Melinda Duncan expresses her interest in being reappointed. Motion to open, close, and appoint
Second.
Ms. Duncan. Hold a second by Mr. John Amity, seconded by Mr. Gerald Michelle. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Fire District Number 4 Board, we have 3 expiring terms on January 1, 2022. Mr. Louis Petrie expresses his interest in being reappointed. Ms. Pamela Carlos expresses her interest in being reappointed. And Mr. Cyril Kirby Verrett expresses his interest in being reappointed.
Open, close, and reappoint.
Motion to open, close, and reappoint by Mr. Danny Babin, seconded Mr. Carl Harding. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Fire District Number 5, 4 expiring terms on January 1, 2021. Mr. Jan Rogers expresses his interest in being reappointed. Mr. Gerald Arsenault expresses his interest in being reappointed. And Mr. Jody J. Blanchard submits an application for consideration.
Second.
And hold the 4th one over? Okay, motion to appoint Mr. Arsenault and Mr. Rogers, to appoint Mr. Blanchard and hold the 4th over. Mr. Steve Trosclair, seconded by, who seconded? Dirk Gidry. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Fire District Number 6 Board, 2 expiring terms on January 1, 2022. Mr. Pete Lambert expresses his interest in being reappointed.
Move.
Okay.
Hold
Mr. Trosclair
Yeah.
moves to open, close, and appoint Mr. Lambert and hold the second one. And Mr. Dirk Gidry seconds it. All in favor say aye. Any
Aye.
opposed? Item F, Fire District Number 9 Board, 3 expiring terms on January 1, 2022. Mr. Riley Grow expresses his interest in being reappointed. Mr. Lynn Gerwa expresses his interest in being reappointed. And Mr. Michael J. Arment expresses his interest in being reappointed.
Open, close, and reappoint.
Motion to open, close, and reappoint Mr. Danny Babin, seconded Mr. Steve Trosclair. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Item G, Fire District Number 10 Board, 3 expiring terms January 1, 2022. Mr. Samuel Small Jr. expresses his interest in being reappointed.
Open, close, and appoint, and hold the other 2 open.
Motion to open, close, and appoint Mr. Small Jr.
Second.
and hold the other 2 by Mr. Danny Babin, seconded by Mr.
Harding.
Mr. Carl Harding. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Item H, Village East Fire Protection, 3 expiring terms on January 1, 2022. Mr. Roy Desmore expresses his interest in being reappointed. Mr. Louis Prosperi Jr. expresses his interest in being reappointed. And Mr. John Roy expresses his interest in being reappointed, as does Mr. Lydell Crochet, submits an application for consideration. So,
Tammy.
go ahead, Mr. Trosclair.
We're showing 3 expiring terms, but you're not showing, okay, but you're not showing it on here. Okay. Right. Okay, so, but it's there, it should be on here, it's not on here. Okay, okay. All right, thank you.
So what we're saying is there's actually 4 positions open.
Second.
Okay, motion to appoint Mr. Desmore, Prosperi, Roy, and appoint Mr. Crochet by Mr. Steve Trosclair.
Just a point of clarification, that's appointing Mr. Crochet for the unexpired term.
Correct. Seconded by Mr. Dirk Gidry. All in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Item I, Home and Terrebonne Housing Authority. Parish President Gordon E. Dove recommends ratification of his appointment, Mr. Danny Piku.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Danny Babin, seconded Mr. Gerald Dirk Gidry, seconded by Gerald Michelle. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. 4, vacancy to various boards, committees, and commissions. The Veterans Memorial District has one unexpired term due to resignation and one expired term representing the Vietnam Veterans of America coming up. Also, the Recreation District number 2-3 has one unexpired term due to a resignation. Recreation District 3A has one expired term and one unexpired term due to a resignation. Recreation District number 6 has one expired term. Rec District number 7 has one expired term. Bayou Blue Fire Protection District has one expired term. Bayou Cane Fire has one expired term on January 1st, 2022. The Coteau Fire Protection District Board has 3 expiring terms on January 1, 2022, and one unexpired term due to a resignation. The Schriever Fire Protection District has one expiring term on January 1, 2022. Fire District number 5 has 2 expiring terms on January 1, 2022. Fire Protection District number 6, one expiring term on January 1, 2022. And Fire District number 7, 3 expiring terms on January 1, 2022. Fire District number 8 has 3 expiring terms on January 1, 2022. Fire District number 10, 2 expiring terms on January 1, 2022. Terrebonne Parish Tree Board has 1 vacancy due to a resignation. And the Children and Youth Services Board has 1 expiring term representing City Court. And TITA has 1 expiring term representing the Terrebonne Parish Council. Coastal Zone Management and Restoration has 1 expired term representing the public. The Planning Commission has 1 expired term. The Hospital Service District number 1 Board has 1 vacancy due to a resignation. And the Homa Housing Authority has 1 expiring term on January 1, 2022. A general business. A, resolution authorizing the signing of an agreement with Entergy for Parish Project number 18-DRA-44, Elliott Jones Pump Station Project, Terrebonne Parish Consolidated Government, Terrebonne Parish, Louisiana, and authorizing the issuance of a notice to proceed. Moved by Mr. John Amity. Seconded by Mr. Steve Crossplayer. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We have a little time. Do we have any announcements, Mr. President? Do you have any council announcements before we go into public hearing? Mr. Danny Babin?
Yeah, just for everybody's information, you may know already, you haven't received your property tax bills yet. They should be going out this week, and there will be an extension from the end of this year till the end of January to pay your tax, your property tax.
Ms. Domingue?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would just like to let everybody in Terrebonne Parish know that this Saturday, December 18th, from 12 to 4, we will have the Mary Kappa Holiday Toy Drive at the Barry Bonvillain Civic Center. It's going to be a drive-through bike drive. This is a collaboration with Mr. Navy, Ms. Arlonda Williams, the DA, Mr. Joe Waits, Sheriff Saunier, President Dove, and many other community organizations. So please come out and see us. We'll be handing out some toys at the Barry Bonvillain Civic Center this Saturday. Thank you.
Mr. Michel?
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to wish everyone Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and just ask everyone to join with my family in praying for those people who are still struggling from the storm, because there are so many of them. And sometimes, especially when we're up here on the northern side of the parish and things are looking more and more like normal, we tend to have it out of our mind that that there's still a lot of struggling down the bayous, and there are. So please keep those people in your prayers, and to whatever degree you can, maybe help to provide something for them so they can have a better Christmas as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Michel. Mr. Harding?
Yes, I just want to say happy holidays to everyone.
And I too would like to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And we have a motion by Mr. John Amity to go into public hearing, seconded by Ms. Domingue. All in favor say aye. Any opposed? We're in 6:30 public hearings. A, an ordinance amending the Terrebonne Parish Code of Ordinances, Chapter 26, Utilities, Article 2, Electricity Division 2, service rates and charges, providing a fee therein for renewable resources net metering. Public once. Public twice. Third time public. Motion to close, Mr. Danny Babin. Second, Mr. John Amity. All in favor say aye. Motion to adopt, Mr. Danny Babin. Second, Mr. John Amity. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Any opposed? Item B, an ordinance to amend the zoning map of the parish of Terrebonne so as to rezone from R1 single-family residential to R3 multifamily residential, lot 16, square 1, Barrowtown subdivision, 2620 Bryant Street, Houma, Louisiana, Terrebonne Parish. Public once. Public twice. Third time public. Motion to close, Mr. Gerald Michel. Second, Mr. Steve Trosclair. All in favor, say aye. Okay. Mr. Harding?
Yes, I'm happy that, if you look at your package, there's a lady that was displaced. She's in her 70s taking care of a 90-year-old aunt, and I'm really, really pleased with the opportunity for these people to find housing. It was rather difficult for them to be displaced outside Terrebonne Parish, and so this particular thing is actually really for the elderly, and they're having the opportunity. And at times, the system does work and take care of our elderly. Thank you.
Is that a motion to adopt, Mr. Harding?
Yes, the motion.
Motion to adopt, Mr. Harding, seconded by Mr. Michel. Any more discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ordinance is adopted. Item C, an ordinance to dedicate and accept the maintenance operation of the streets, drainage servitude, sewer, and right-of-ways for the Adley Oaks subdivision Phase A. Energize and accept the street lights and to incorporate Adley Avenue, Oriole Street, and Kingfisher Street into the enhanced 911 emergency response system for the purpose of providing a better means of locating addresses. Public once. Public twice. Third time public. Motion closed, Mr. Amity. Seconded by Mr. Dirk Gidry. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion to adopt, Mr. Amity. Seconded, Mr. Dirk Gidry. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ordinance is adopted. Item D, an ordinance to authorize the parish president to execute a cooperative endeavor agreement between Terrebonne Parish Consolidated Government, the Houma Downtown Development Corporation, and Hatchie Grant Association Incorporated for construction and placement of a bandstand at the Courthouse Square in downtown Houma. Wait, public once. Public,
Hungry.
would you like to come? Go ahead and state your name and address if you don't mind.
Good evening. I'm Noah Lered, 628 Dunn Street, Houma, Louisiana. And I just want to talk about the bandstand. So at one time, there was a bandstand in the Courthouse Square. It was built for the public, by the public, for the public's enjoyment, and it represented community. And I think that's something that we need right now. So we're going to rebuild it if y'all are in agreement with that. And I think it's something that we can use at this point in time in our parish. And that's all I got.
Thank you. Any more public? Ms. Domain?
Yeah, and knowing all you guys that are out there, it's the Hache grant.
It's Hache.
Yes.
Okay.
You guys are doing a bang up job. Y'all just really shine this year, and ever since the hurricane and everything you guys done, we really appreciate it. And I know Mr. Dove has also made it one of our priorities moving forward to start investing in downtown. So we really look forward to working with you guys. So thanks.
Thank you, Ms. Domain. Final call, public. Motion to close, Mr. Danny Babin, second, Mr. Gerald Michel. All in favor, say aye. Motion to adopt, Ms. Domain, seconded by Mr. Carl Harding. Any more discussion? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Ordinance is adopted. Item E, an ordinance to adopt the 2022 operating and maintenance budget and the 5-year capital improvements budget of the Terrebonne Parish Consolidated Government as presented by Parish President and further amended by the Terrebonne Parish Council to amend the parish compensation plan for new and or adjusted positions, approve a 4% cost of living increase for the parish president's departments and council staff, and to address other matters related thereto. Public once. Public twice. Third time public. Motion to close by Mr. Dirk Gidry, seconded by Mr. Steve Trosclair. All in favor say aye. Motion to adopt, Mr. Danny Babin, seconded Mr. Steve Trosclair. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Ordinance is adopted. Item F, an ordinance to amend the 2021 adopted operating budget and 5-year capital outlay budget and budgeted positions of the Terrebonne Parish Consolidated Government for the following items and to provide for related matters. The Emergency Preparedness Department, EMPG, $33,616. Animal Shelter Donations, $10,000. Humboldt Police Department, Louisiana Commission on Law Enforcement Grant, $208,005. Animal Shelter Donations, $3,936. Section H8 Voucher Program, $1,838,899. Parish-wide Recreation, $15,000. Eastside Public Safety Substation, $39,356. Dedicated Emergency Fund, $44,011,215. Utilities Administration, $0, but add GIS and Records Coordinator grade 107. Public once. Public twice. Third time public. Motion to close, Mr. John Amity, seconded by Mr. Danny Babin. All in favor, say aye. Motion to adopt, Mr. John Amity, seconded Mr. Danny Babin. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Ordinance is adopted. Item G, an ordinance to amend the 2021 adopted operating budget of the Terrebonne Parish Consolidated Government for the following items and to provide for related matters. A 5% budget adjustment for Road Lighting District Number 1, $22,500. 5% budget adjustment for District 3A, $68,000. 5% budget adjustment for Road Lighting District 4, $9,500. 5% budget adjustment for Road Lighting District 6, $17,500. 5% budget adjustment for Road Lighting District 7, $24,821. 5% budget adjustment for Road Lighting District 10, $11,520. 5% budget adjustment for Public Safety Fund, $860,282. Public once. Public twice. Third time public. Motion to close, Mr. Gerald Michel. Was that Gerald Michel? Mr. Gerald Michel, seconded by Mr. Danny Babin. All in favor, say aye. Motion to adopt, Mr. Gerald Michel, seconded by Mr. Danny Babin. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Ordinance is adopted. Item H, an ordinance to amend the Terrebonne Parish Consolidated Government Code of Ordinances by amending Chapter 12, Article 7, Chapter 22, Article 7, Drainage to levies. Public once. Public twice. Third time public. Motion to close, Mr. Dirk Gidry. Seconded, Mr. John Amity. All in favor, say aye. Motion to adopt, Mr. Dirk Gidry. Seconded, Mr. John Amity. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Ordinance is adopted. We have a motion to adjourn, Mr. Danny Babin, seconded by Mr. John Amity. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? We are adjourned. Thanks, guys.